Let's bring in Tom Bossert, who's a former White House Homeland Security advisor, who's now an ABC News contributor. Tom, good morning. Given what we've just seen, the growing food insecurity in this country, what, if anything, can and should the federal government be doing to help here?
Yeah, you know, the federal government needs to be doing more around this issue across the board. So I think they underestimated in Congress the amount of money we would need. The executive branch has been slow to distribute this financial aid. And that financial aid, especially to wage earners in this country, to wage workers, translates into a need for food. If you don't have money, you can't buy food. And so that's where those lines end up growing longer with people that aren't accustomed to being in them. And then with respect to the direct distribution of food, the president announced a multifaceted program this week, but most of that money went to farmers who are affected by the global supply chain problems associated with this pandemic. Only a little bit of that money went to the direct purchase of produce and food for people. We need a lot more of it. So he and the Congress are going to have to kind of balance. This wasn't a stimulus package. This was meant to offset the need for money and food while we all waited out this virus. And I think they underestimated the amount needed.
So striking to be looking at a hunger problem of this magnitude in the United States. Let's talk about these protests we saw earlier at the top of the show against the stay-at-home orders. We now have the president tweeting in support of the protesters, and some governors say they plan to start reopening soon. I guess my question for you is, can these states that want to reopen soon, can they do that safely at this point?
Well, you know, the honest answer to that is we don't know. And so I would say two things on that. First, this is kind of the natural outgrowth of this blanket shutdown approach that we didn't need to take in the beginning, but where we find ourselves today. And so I understand that some communities were locked down prematurely and we fatigued them because they've been in this mode longer than perhaps the viral, properties in their community would have necessitated. But that doesn't mean that they don't have the virus there now. So I think the answer here on protests is to separate those that are protesting against the lack of preparedness of their state, local, and federal government, which there's a legitimate connotation to that, from those who are actually at this point protesting because they don't think the underlying threat is real. That's the part that troubles me the most. This is a real, deadly, lethal, contagious virus. And if people lose sight of that, they might run back out under this frustration that they're feeling into something that they're not fully understanding. So for the protesters that are protesting government slowness, this week will be crucial. We need to see if they meet those three gating criteria. The first one, the trend going down in a lot of states. The second one, the hospital capacity, sufficient in a lot of those states. The third one, the ability to nip in the bud a recurrence or a second wave by detecting it and stopping it. That one, we don't see any plans yet. You're going to start to see governors unveil their plans this week. If they're sufficient, if they have the resources, if they have the testing capacity, then we will see some states begin to safely but slowly return over the first week of June and throughout the summer.
We are entering a key and delicate phase here. Tom Bossert, really appreciate your guidance on a Saturday morning. Thank you very much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.